These 5 strength moves should be part of your training every day. The first one is gonna be this shoulder dowel stretch. I've talked about this in other videos and I've used this for years. Especially as supplemental work in between power moves and hand balancing. Handstands all the way up to air flares and working on opening the shoulders. Now, just a little piece of background for me personally, I've done a lot of bench press. I had this silly little goal of getting to really high numbers in bench press a long time ago and it tightened everything up. And I was also doing acrobatics at that time and I noticed the weightlifting was slowing everything down and causing tightness and stuff, which was causing problems for power moves. But I try to get all of our students doing these, especially adults, and you'll see people like Matt Pomerantz and Venny and other adult students, especially online clients, doing these. And it really helps, goes a long way for hand balancing and mobilizing your joints. We can also do a dowel stretch this way as well, and that's a really cool one for your hamstrings. So it's working the shoulders at a different angle, but I like doing this one, bringing the dowel all the way over, but getting full rotation. And I like to just stay right in this pocket here, like right where it hurts the most, because that's where you're gonna get the most benefit. There's no need to go all the way over and all the way back down to here. If you stay right in this pocket here, you're gonna get good stretch. And at the same time that you're stretching, because of just the nature of how everything is positioned, you're gonna end up building strength in that range as well. These little marks where I would measure like how far I was getting with my progress, and like it was like this close together. I've gotten a little tighter since then. So just to show you too, that this can become a strength exercise, you just add a simple weight to this, okay? And then you can go back and forth and you just stay in the pocket. And then you can build up to quite significant amounts of weight, but this is really, really good, really beneficial, especially if you are, if you want to have any sense of athleticism in your training and build up through skills, which really is like the byproduct of all of your day-to-day strength and flexibility training, is skills development, and that's the fun stuff. And then those all turn into katas, dynacombos, and everything cool that you see our students doing. But this one is a staple. Do this every day and you're gonna see massive gains. Move number 2 is gonna be mobilizing your hips. So that was, the first one was shoulders, obviously. The second one is hips. Just squats. Well, not super heavy, not like maximum lifts or anything, but between 200 and 250 pound range with squats, I would just bring it down and just go into a stretching position and go really slow, and I used it as stretch. But you should be squatting and just using your legs every day. Toes flared out, fine. Toes neutral, fine, like everything. Even some of these other positions that we've talked about in other videos, like W sit and everything else, up on your toes, heels flat, all of those positions and stretching, but just a squat, just mobilizing your hips. And again, this transfers over into all of life, as well as advanced strength and skill, and then progressing up through dynacombos, which are 3 to 5 movements or skills that we put together. And then if you link several dynacombos together, that becomes a kata. And we have those progressions all the way up. And so for something like, let's say, free running, if you are trying to get to the point where you can run, vault, roll, things that people should be able to do just on the regular, just a normal healthy person should be able to do those 3 things I listed, which is run, vault, and roll. And those are kind of some of the basics that are in the low levels of free running. And then even the free run track, where we go no flips, we have a whole progression through all the way up to level 10 that does not have any flips. And so we would just take away all the risk involved in the flips training, even though we mitigate against the risk with safe training and progressions. But there's a whole non-flip track. And so squats at all those different angles, with or without weight. And honestly, you don't really need to be using weight. And then there's other fun ways of doing that as well, where you can have a person sit up on your shoulders and do squats and stuff. The mobility of that and being able to put yourself into those positions, because in daily life or in athleticism, you're gonna find yourself at weird angles and you need to have that mobility. Let's say all the way to the other end of the spectrum where you're gonna land on impact. Maybe it's a really high jump, you land and you're coming all the way down and you're landing like this. Your feet might be a little flared. It might be imperfect, and that's okay. But your body should be able to absorb that impact, and you should be fine there. All right. Well, make sure squats are part of your everyday training, not just leg day. And third move, back to upper body. All right. We're gonna do pushing, but not in the conventional sense. And this one is also one that I've mentioned in other videos on our channels, and it really is a staple. It'll help the vast majority of the population actually improve health in a lot of ways. But it also opens up these doors to more advanced strength and skill. So it's just a bridge. You can do this in a variety of different ways too. And a lot of people, you know, we've had students, I can remember working with key individuals that couldn't even bridge off of the ground at all. They were just at about here, working with all their might. In fact, even getting their palm on the ground was difficult. What we would do is we'd take some chalk and chalk up the hands and stuff, and then we would put their arm against the wall so that their hand wouldn't slide away from them. And then I would hold their feet and stuff, things like that, but just trying to find those little ways of getting into that position. The easiest way to start is just doing a lift like this, and then working on getting your hand flat down on the ground. Little by little, you'll be able to progress up through a bridge, and then we could start taking feet away, take one foot off of the ground, or we'll go into the bridge twist, which is really cool. All of those kind of things can progress to, again, advanced hand balancing, things like hollow backs, power moves, stuff that you've seen in the katas, the levels of progression all the way up in what we teach in Powerbatics. You know, even kids all the way up to adults that, again, they don't come in with a bridge able to do this kind of stuff. We've got to put in the time and the work. You'll see people like Che in our online training, Matt, again, you know, lots of people, you know, they come in without a bridge at all or very low, putting strain on their lower back, strain on their wrists. Now they're in the position where they've got a nice bridge. They're even working on things like hollow backs and stuff. You want to make bridge part of your daily training, okay? And honestly, the moves that I'm showing you now are key parts of just a basic warm-up really quick, but you can also turn that into whole strength sessions for yourself. Just remember, guys, don't mistake videos for instruction. Everyone is at their own unique spot in their journey. So you might have things, you know, 3, 4, 5 different things that someone else might not. They might be working on stuff that's totally different. So get a good coach and into a good community. Okay, and then another move for the legs is gonna be splits, and we can do splits at all angles, all right? Part of a warm-up, part of flexibility training at the end of a session, you know, doing holds for 1, 5, even up to 10 minutes at a time. And these are also the strength holds. Okay, so for example, leg iron cross, and we're holding in a position that requires that strength and flexibility in an isometric hold. And we can do all sorts of things with flexibility, but the split should really be part of your daily training. You'll notice that a lot of skills that we're working on require flexibility, be it anything from a cartwheel to a straddle press handstand. You'll need hip mobility. Like I always say in daily life, you want to be able to have this strength and flexibility because it'll save you in a lot of ways. You'll see a lot of our students getting more and more flexible as they go through months and then years of training. You'll see everyone from teenagers like Tyler starting off practically standing straight up all the way down into full splits, and then that improved all of his tricking and free running and everything else. And Benny, with all of the multiple hip surgeries, he's still out here working splits, always increase and better himself in terms of his physical training. You'll see people like Che also getting lower and lower in the leg iron cross and working that every day. But really, guys, that should be part of your daily training. And if you need help, then just shoot my team a message and you guys will be able to dive in a little bit deeper together. Your last move for the strength as well as flexibility is going to be hangs. and you guys can hang in any kind of way that you want to. If you've noticed in the course of this video, we've done a lot of different kinds of movements. We've done upper body, where we are just getting mobilization of the shoulders. Then we've gone down to the hips and done the same thing down there. And then we've also done pushing, but we've done it in back extension with the bridge. And then we've done the same thing essentially with the hips. We've gone and done isometric holds in the leg iron cross. And then just hanging is building more shoulder mobility and strength. And it will help you get things like your chin up or pull up or muscle up or anything else. You can hang from one hand. You can allow your body to twist and rotate. And it'll help you guys to build a lot of advanced strength that goes all the way up to things like front levers, meat hooks, reverse flags. You'll see our performers and athletes doing things like meat hooks, reverse flags, things on one arm, hanging. And then it really helps the entirety of your body, just in terms of shoulder mobility, and the core strength is actually developed as a byproduct of that, especially when you start bringing your legs upwards in the air. So make hanging part of your daily training, not just whenever you're training lats and biceps. Make it just a staple that you do every day. And listen guys, if you really want to build maximum strength and skill and take your training to a different level, then subscribe, opt in, it's totally free. Plus you'll get access to me and my team, all sorts of other videos, student success stories, information about cash prizes for special contests, and whenever we travel and we go to different countries and places in the world where we have workshops and community. See you in the next video and in training soon.